Let's not talk about that one. I'm sorry, I can't. Wow, that is...
Also attached a tongue because dragons have tongues.
Nerd.
Today, I'm going to be making paper dragon puppets. Let's get started. By the end of this video, I want to make a dragon puppet that looks like this. Is that possible? Today's your lucky day because we're going to find out. But before we make something as intricate and elaborate as these examples, I want to make an easier version of a dragon puppet so that I can at least get a feel as to what the basic mechanics of a dragon puppet feels like on my hand. Now, just a disclaimer, like I said before, I don't really know much about dragon puppets, nor have I drawn a dragon freehand ever in my life. Well, maybe one time. Let's not talk about that one. So if it appears like I don't know much about the anatomy of dragon heads and dragon features, that's why. So I have my notebook as my working surface and I have my printer paper. Now this easier dragon puppet version is way simpler than I thought. First, I'm going to fold these two horizontals to the center. Maybe it'll help if I tape this side shut. I have my scissors and tape. Okay, that's good for now. I'm gonna rotate it and I'm going to fold this in half. And then I'm going to fold this downwards. And I'm gonna flip it over and repeat the same step. You see these two gaps? This is where the hand goes. I don't know if that's supposed to happen. The mechanics appear to be working fine, but I think I'm going to use tape to close the gaps shut. I made two tape rolls here. One for the bottom, one for the top. Please work. Alright, that's looking much better. So this is the base of the easiest paper dragon puppet that you can make. The hard part is the design. I did some thinking about what my design should be. I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to try making a monochrome dragon puppet, meaning black and white. Oh shoot, I just realized the tape is gonna make it harder for me to apply my design. Alright, we'll see how things go. First, let me attempt to draw some dragon eyes. Okay, maybe some fierce looking eyes would do the trick. Dang it, the crease messed up my sketches. By the way, I'm using no reference right now. With this lack of knowledge, I'm gonna struggle hard in this challenge. Yeah. Look, that's an issue. I don't know if I could get past that. I have my Sharpie brush tip pen. Doesn't really look like eyes, to be honest. How do I draw a dragon nose? I gotta make it look like it's fuming with rage. Oh my god, no. What do I do? Thank goodness this is just a practice. I'm just trying to add some dimension to the eyes, but so far I feel like it's making things worse. I'm just gonna keep adding on to this until a miracle happens, because apparently that's how things work around here. I'm sorry, I can't. Wow, that is... If I had just drawn regular circular eyes, this would have looked way better. Hooray, I made these black horns at the cost of my clean fingers. You know, this Durmark marker works super well, but the tip, not looking very cute. But you know what, as long as it's functional, whatever. The ink is getting on the tape. Let me wash my hands. Alright, I'm back. Attach tape, blah, 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 blah. I sounded like an NPC just now. This does not look like a dragon, nor any animal that I've seen. Is it because it's missing like actual ears? Maybe that's why. Let me draw in the little ear details. I don't see any world where I can make this look any better than it does now. Wait, where did the ears go? Like here? I can already sense the comments. Be like, no, that's not where the ears go. The horns are in the wrong place. You know what? This needs more horns, right? Apparently that's a thing I believe. Right, more horns. How lovely. At this point, I'm just going rogue. Should we stick it on the inside? No, that's a bad idea. Yikes. Here, let me fold the teeth down. Maybe it'll help. Okay, well, let's just ignore the top part. We still need to draw the mouth. This is just embarrassing.
I don't think so. No, 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 no. I don't think so. No, 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 no.
Do you guys want to see my final dragon? I did say I don't know much about dragons. Like I said before, I don't really know much about dragon puppets, so I hope you guys can at least cut me some slack. As soon as I drew those freaking eyes, it was game over. The only bright side to this puppet is that it's functional. It clamps up and down. I'll cut myself a little bit of slack for having no reference. Hopefully things will get better from here. Somehow I went from that semi-decent toothless paper puppet to that, I don't even know what to call it. At least I know what I'm doing with this harder version. Okay, this time I won't give up as easily as our practice round, okay? This was just like a practice. Now it's time for the real thing. I'm scared. Notebook, paper, more paper from last time, and then more paper. You know, before I tell you what design I want to make, let's make the dragon puppet base first. I'm just gonna go with the base that I made for Toothless in that one cake blind bag video. I'll link it up in the cards. First, I'm going to make a long strip of paper. I want to make the strip of paper as thick as possible. I've seen people use cardboard to make their dragon puppets, but I don't really have cardboard, so I'm just making do with what I have. You know, this is a decent length, but I want to make this dragon puppet around this size. This strip of paper is not going to be long enough, so I'm going to make one more. We'll see if I can sleep tonight knowing what I create today. I'm going to tape the two edges together. I did say I want a decently sized dragon puppet, but not this big. Now I have to make 4 triangle shapes, so I'm definitely going to need more paper for this. More paper. Let's fold this in half. Alright, I have formed my 4 triangles. I think I actually need to make 2 of these, because for this I need one for the top and one for the bottom, but the mouth needs to be able to open too. I'm back. So let's get these triangles taped onto these strips of paper. 1 triangle done. Now I have 2 party hats. If you know, you know. To actually make this puppet hinge up and down, we need to tape this edge. Okay, wow. This is looking way more promising than the first puppet that I made. Now, as for the design of the dragon that I'm going to be making today, every so often I visit a Chinese temple, and at the front of some of these temples, there are these huge dragon statues that both amaze me and terrify me. Amaze me because of its size, terrifies me because of its size, but it looks cool, so I'm gonna make it today.
So first I'm going to make the sides of the dragon puppet. Taking out my white paper, I'm folding it in half so that after the template is all drawn out, when I cut it, I can make 2 copies. Now with my pencil, I'm sketching out a rough sketch of a dragon head. This time, I made sure to use several anatomical references because we all know what happened when I didn't use one. I'm basically mapping out the head area, snout, and jaw area in hopes that the facial structure will make sense in the end. Let me bring out my scissors to cut out our template. There we go. Perfect. Now I'm going to sketch out the actual dragon features, and man was I dreading this part the most. At first, I made some questionable design choices. Goodness gracious, what is that eye shape? But as I continued to let my creative juices flow onto this dragon head, I started to gain some confidence in what I was doing. Although, that eye's gotta go. After years of grunt work, here are the 2 sides of the dragon face all completed. It's now time for me to go over all of the pencil sketches with my black pen, which is always an incredibly satisfying process. I just noticed that I drew 2 nostril holes on each side of the dragon, so basically that means I accidentally made a dragon with 4 nose holes. Well, points for creativity, I guess. Once I was finished tracing, I went in to remove all of the pencil lines. Moved the papers aside, gotta eradicate the eraser shaving mob, and this is what we have so far. I'm now bringing in my stash of color pencils to color our design. The snout/jaw area is going to be filled in with red, utilizing pencil pressure to add some dimension to the snout. I also went in with orange because I felt like it. Okay, honestly, I'm too lazy to narrate all of what I did here, so here are the sides of the dragons all colored in. Almost forgot, I lost 4 coloring pencils because they decided to have a mind of their own and fall into that abyss. Their choice, I guess. Next step, I want to make a cut through the mouth, so I'm making sure to cut right through the middle of the black line and just extend the cut straight until I have 2 pieces. This is so that the sides of the dragon can hinge along with the dragon puppet base. I'm then making a bunch of tape rolls to stick onto the sides of the dragon puppet base, 4 on the left and 4 on the right. But before we attach the sides of the dragon head, I'm taking some scrap paper to make some sharp teeth that'll stick out under the upper mouthpiece. Even though I had my references with me throughout this entire process, don't forget I've only made dragon puppets a grand total of 2 times, with one being an abomination, so don't be thinking that every part of this DIY was smooth sailing. But so far, I think I've gotten everything under control. I made these head extensions off camera to attach to the backs of the head pieces because, you know, I thought the dragon would look way too bulbous without it. I also have these beard pieces which I'm attaching to the bottom of the dragon jaw because that's what a lot of my dragon references featured. At this point, I still felt like the back of the dragon head was a bit too empty. I initially made this off camera, but I quickly realized, yeah, this was way too big. Instead, I brought out this turquoise/teal/aquamarine, I never learned the difference between the 3, sticky pad to make small hair fragments to attach to the back. I ended up making 4 hair segments because of the hinging mechanism, opening the mouth. Ooh, that's terrifying. I made these black triangles to stick onto the inside of the puppet base. Also attached a tongue because dragons have tongues. Now there's just one final glaring issue in front of me. I took a scrap piece of white paper and first folded the paper along the contour of the puppet dragon head region. This was very tedious, but once I figured out where I needed to curve the paper, I cut out my paper into a rough triangle shape. So I colored the triangle, and after some taping,
here's our final dragon puppet. I think it's pretty obvious that I put a lot more effort into this dragon puppet than the first one I made. Like, compared to this, you're a disgrace. I just wanted to say that this isn't an actual depiction of an actual Chinese dragon. Wanted to put that out there. Obviously, I'm super satisfied with how this turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what kind of content you would like to see next, and I'll see you guys later. Meepyblues out.